like to call to order the Springboro Board of Education for December 13th, 2018. Roll call.
Here.
Here. Rise for the pledge. Flag salute.
Justice for
Need a motion to adopt tonight's agenda, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Need a motion to approve November 8th, 2018 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Need a motion to accept the approval of the December 5th, 2018 spatial meeting minutes.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Schreier?
Mr. President, members of the board, it's my honor tonight to give you a little special Christmas present. We have two classes, Mrs. Collins and Mr. Green's classes. Members of that class are here tonight for a very special Christmas presentation and to share what that's going to be and introduce the class, our assistant principal, Cadet Center Elementary, and Ohio State band, Brandon Grubenoff.
Mr. Schreier and Board of Education, we're happy to be able to present here tonight to hopefully spread a little bit of Christmas cheer. For those of you in the audience or watching this recording online, if you are unable to make it to Christmas in Springboro, we had an opportunity each and every year of starting off Christmas in Springboro with the first performance of the night. So you'll hear a couple of songs from the Christmas in Borough presentation, and without further ado, I'll turn it over to our music director, Andy Burke.
First song they're going to do is called "We Are You Christmas." It features two of our kids with solos, Kate Stevens and Aaron Duck. And then the second song is called "We Will Jingle." It's a little play on "We Will Rock You." So, without further ado. Yeah. Is that it?
taking the time for us to spread a little bit of Christmas cheer. We would like to take a quick photo opportunity, if that's okay. If we could.
Yes, but hold on, before we do that, one of the things that we like to do, and students, there's so many of you, we don't have one for everyone. But what we like to do is, because you were here, because you performed, we have 2 books here, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Meltdown, 2 different books. These are going to be put in your library at Dennis, and inside it's going to say, this book is donated to the Dennis Library on behalf of Mrs. Collins' homeroom, and this one, Mr. Green's homeroom. And so every time someone gets one of these books out, they'll see, because you guys sung here, those books are in the library. You guys did a great job. Before we get a picture with these awesome board members, what did I call them? Awesome? Yes. Before we get a picture with them, any questions or comments? Okay.
Okay. So what was your favorite part about the jingle song?
Guitar solo. I liked the we will jingle part.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of got to do a dance to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about, there's somebody in red in the back. I can't see his face. I can just see the dance. Yeah. There you go. I can tell somebody was trying to get down. We just couldn't see who it was. You guys did a great job. It was fun to see you enjoying music that much. Good job.
Great job.
Great
And
job.
soloist, you did a great job.
Yes, excellent.
Awesome. You sound great together.
All right, let's have you guys stand back here, kind of in 2 rows behind these board members. They'll sit, and we'll get a picture of you. Come on back. Come on back. Make sure you can see Mr. Grubenall's camera. If you can't see it, he can't see you. All right, guys. You ready? On the count of 3, I want you to say Saturday school. 1, 2, 3.
Saturday school.
Oh, that's so easy, guys.
We should have changed this.
Parents, if you want to take pictures, guys, stay there. Keep smiling, run up here and take pictures. Come on up, parents. This is the time. This is for education. All right, everyone look up here. No bunny ears. No bunny ears or no more snow days. All right, watch up there.
Sorry. It's okay.
Big smiles, guys. You're doing great. No bunny ears.
Will it hurt?
Keep smiling. All right. You guys did a great job. One more round of applause.
We'll recess for 5 minutes.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to say anything to a board member or grab your kids and head on.
Springboro education here. Hi, Charles. Anybody from classified here? Anybody public participation on any agenda item? Okay, we'll move on to the work session.
Our first item in the work session tonight is an update. Dr. Summers is with us this evening to discuss the list, stakeholder list, as well as the next work ahead for the board. Unfortunately, I didn't bring any more copies of the list, but I think they'll remember that.
They all got it.
They have it.
I don't have it.
That's okay, go ahead.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it.
Yeah, so what should be done with the list, the stakeholder advocacy group, I want to kind of help put a framework on it, in which there's 4 big groups involved in this activity. One that's a really big group, depending on how engaged people are. So you have the board, that's you. You have senior leadership, which is a team of Dan's folks, who we met with for the first time this past week. And the strategic advocacy group, the one that you're selecting people for tonight. That group is kind of the core sounding board, and also what we try to do is build in the capacity of not only creating a strategic plan, but having a cross-section of people that will advocate for it once it's done.
I just
So
emailed that
that-
to all five.
So that advocacy, the strategic advocacy, or if we use that term advocacy, is not only for now, they're advocating for what the community wants, but also for the long term. The last part will be a group of the same breakouts, but we'll have focus groups for another set of folks, and also we'll do survey work so that you have a much broader cross-section of the community. So this group won't be your only source of information as we go through the process and eventually get to review teachers.
I think we had a couple questions about that, unless they already answered. Well, to refresh, one of the things, and what we talked about, folks, was there are, and again, I just emailed you 6 groups: students, parents, teachers and staff, business, community, post-secondary. So what we had shared was kind of equal numbers in each group. 4 students, we would select 6 parents, 1 per building, 6 teachers or staff, 1 per building. And we received those names from building leaders, those that had been involved in the school building, those that maybe had more of a strategic mindset. We picked 5 business leaders, some of them former parents, grandparents here at the district, 5 community organizations, representatives in them, from Clear Creek Township to the city, to the chamber, Kaufman Y, and so forth. And some of them, parents or grandparents. And then 5 post-secondary career tech representatives, ODE, Warren County Career Center, and then Miami, Sinclair, and Cincinnati State, where many of our students will go for college credit plus. And so, any discussion with that?
So can you, with these groups, so how frequently will these groups meet and how will they be used? Will these groups break off into work groups? Or I just don't quite understand how we're using these.
Yeah.
Because I do have some concerns, not with the people in the groups, but it's just the overall representation of, I get it that there is some cross, like there's some people that are part of a community organization that are also parents, but I just would like a deeper understanding of what this group is doing before we move ahead.
Couple of things. One is the group has to be a size and such that you can interact with them in a very direct relationship, and you have a reasonable chance of having a fair number of them in the meeting. So they're just the logistics. You can have 500 if you wanted, but you'll be up there and have an interaction.
Sure.
So there is a limitation, physical limitation. If you look at the handout, not the first page, but the rest of them, this is the steps that you looked at previously, but what the strategic advocacy group will have, right now we have scheduled 3 major meetings with them. First being in January, February, and then March. The first 2 will involve them hearing and understanding opportunities, breakthrough situations, global kinds of issues that the district either faces in a broad sense or opportunities that you might consider. So we'll have experts coming in, not only from the workforce and the community, a larger sense of the community, but also educational leaders, and we'll also have reports, that sort of thing. That's to broaden the conversation around establish understanding of opportunities. They will also then be involved with feedback from the various reports that come out. So if you notice, the first one, established organizational quality and performance status, that's a pretty heavy lift of what is around student results, stakeholder results, workforce results, key processes, and that, and as kind of documentation of the organization. So they'll review those, give their input. They do not have any final say in anything. They're more an advocacy and feedback group. They also give you a microcosm work of a set of what we call stakeholder groups, which is item number 3 in the list, common understanding. There will be a series of stakeholder focus groups, which will be a selection that's in addition to these folks. And that focus group will have basically a SWOT analysis or an interactive feedback loop That feedback process will then generate a survey, which we go out to an even larger group to get feedback on common themes that the stakeholder group will have. So they'll have input on what they see and help us interpret those individual breakouts. So what you see in front of you will be repeated in a larger focus group and then in a larger survey. The entire extent of the process is trying to get a small group that we can have a conversation with, but fed information from a larger community operation. They then give you advice on established mission, values, including, and we want to be clear, there's some things that we're getting a clear message that you may want to keep. The ethic being an example. So if that's the case, this group will either confirm that or tell you more information about what the community thinks of your current mission and those sorts of things. At the end of the day, you will have feedback opportunities that include not only this group, but the other subgroups. And then finally, the key performance metrics, they'll have conversations around that. The core function of this group is twofold. One is to give you a feedback point that is reasonably sized, that you can have an interaction. Their meetings are open to have you included in them. I'll talk about that in a second, so that you can hear their conversations. They will represent a much larger group that we're going to have focus groups and survey information. The second part, by the way, is the advocacy part. If done correctly, these folks will continue to be after you approve the strategic plan to understand what's going on. And they'll also be advocates in the community or internally that this process made sense, they were a part of it. So there's just one more set of voices supporting activities as you move forward. Helpful?
It's helpful. I guess I just have some concern with the weight of having, and I do understand that there's overlap. That there's people, Chris Pizzuto is a parent and he's also under the community organization. So I do understand that there's some overlap there. But when I look at us looking at establishing mission, vision, values, key performance metrics, some of these big pieces, it concerns me that we're having more like post-secondary career tech community organizations that just don't have as much vested in the district as a parent would or a teacher or staff would as these people. So I don't have a problem with those being part of this, but to have 5 post-secondary career tech and 5 parents, it just feels like, I get that we need to have a manageable size. I guess I would just like to consider maybe limiting the bottom 3 a little bit and adding some more parents or teacher staff people, the people with more of the feet on the ground who have.
So here's the grand issue that you face is that bottom group is critically important in understanding what their expectations are, because that's where your kids go. If you miss the target, you provided instruction that doesn't match with what higher ed expects.
Yeah,
you
that's
can have all the great
Right.
input that you want, you can have all the great program you want, but the kids fall short of where you want to be. So that group is not here to discuss how the school operates. They're there to remind the group that's where your kids are going next. The business groups the same way. So their voice will be a conversation around where are the recipients of all the students that you're coming. Parents have a really important role to say because they're your children. What will attract me to your school? How do I want my child treated? What do I expect? The other community groups are a combination of partners, and also all of them are, the vast majority of them will be taxpayers that are trying to give you advice and counsel. The other thing I'd remind you is they're not voting. So the volume of people is not important. They're not voting. They're going to give you a set of comments and conversations that represent each of their points. You folks vote for the series of things that are related to governance. The senior leadership has to make decisions on things that are kind of internal operations.
Can you talk a little bit more about, you
it sounded like at different points in the process, we would go broader groups of parents.
Yes.
Teachers, and so this group, it almost sounds like they're a sounding board.
That's exactly right. To
For
make a
us.
sounding board for you so that you get their perspectives. They're not voting. And then later on, they're going to be advocates and say, hey, I was a part of this process and they've made these big decisions. And that means that they're better aligned as a partner. They're better aligned as a school for my children. They're better aligned for taxpayer expenditures. So that's kind of what the role. The other groups are, in each one of these breakouts will also have focus groups, which is a new set of people, not these initial set. And from them, we'll try to discern a high-quality survey mechanism that can go out to as large a group as you'd like.
So what would you be looking for in that?
Well,
That type
for
of
example,
survey.
parents, we would logically assume that we try to have 100% of the parents that are currently here and have children here would
Have a
be
survey.
available to a survey.
Right, but like what type of information, I guess, would we be looking for? Because that might
Yeah,
get
so.
what I'm looking for.
So the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, challenges, or threats, those would be logical places where the focus group would say, I think it's this, and this. We send it out to the larger group and say, is that agreeable? Do you see new things? We're entertaining a process called thought exchange, which leaves for open-ended questions, so you can ask opinions. Those opinions are shared and rated by other people in the network anonymously, so there's any number of possibilities for you to get really deep understanding of what the community really thinks about.
So that focus group would be sort of the intermediary or whatever between this.
The focus groups will probably be, obviously for parents, it will be a parent group. So you have 15 to 20.
The group there that's helping it shape.
They'll make some conversations, and they'll make opinions known to you, and do rankings and ratings and that sort of thing, which typically. But they'll also drive that larger survey, which then will give you a really good feel for at least all the parents that respond.
Do we have anything like listening session type of anything like that built in here where there's like community feedback that would give?
It would be, in our design, it's the focus groups would be a first point. That's lots of listening. We're not going to be telling them anything. We'll be asking them questions and then the survey.
Are the focus groups generated from these people?
They could advise, but also you can be involved with that any way you want to do it. The focus groups have to be selected in addition to these.
So it would be open to, like, could we put that out there, if somebody wanted to be involved with this and they're not on this list, could that be open to anybody that wanted to be part of this process and isn't on the list?
That's right.
So I guess
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for people that want, I don't want to exclude people, that if your name's not on this list, you don't get to be part of the
That's
process.
the reason the focus groups and then the larger survey, there's no reason to limit that to anyone.
Okay, that was what I was looking
That's
for.
helpful.
So 100% of the faculty and staff would be a part of the surveys. Physically, it would be difficult to bring them all together to make any sense out of it. So that's the way we have this two-stage process. And then you have representatives. You're not left to interpret the survey data from your perspective. You have actual people on the advocacy group saying, well, I'm a parent, I understand why they said that. So it works out pretty well. Gives you a manageable group, gives you a real advocacy group, gives you an intimate feel for some people in key positions, while at the same time, literally every staff person can have their input. Every community member, every parent, anybody that we can get access to.
The focus groups happen pretty early in the process.
Yeah, I don't have the timeline beyond January, but it'll probably be somewhere early February. We're in the process of trying to figure out what the dates are. Once you get this list approved, then we know what to do.
It sounds like they play a pretty important role in shaping.
There's another thing to remember about the strategic plan that you'll have come out of this. Most strategic plans in education are a list of activities that get checked off over time. This is more of a direction setting for performance expectation environment with a set of opportunities for improvement in an action planning process. The opportunities for improvement will evolve throughout the next 5 years as staff and circumstances recommend in order to achieve the performance goal. So we'll be working with you to create a set of aspirational statements. From those aspirational statements, we say, this is where we want the district to be somewhere in the future. We'll put a set of performance measures on it. These groups are going to give you lots of input on where they think there's shortcomings and strengths in the district. The actual action plans won't be listed in pages and pages of strategic plan. They will be things that you and the administration will actively work on to achieve that long-term vision and that long-term performance. That is fundamentally different than most strategic plans. What it does is you focus on your results, not your activities. Activities can adjust and change. As we can see in 2008, lots of companies had to change their activities because of the downturn in the economy. But their long-term objective was to stay solvent, productive, and serve clients. So the school will be a similar kind of experience. Make sense?
Oh, that's helpful. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's what we're
What
really
you
lacking
got?
right now.
What you
I'm not
got?
really sure what we're working towards, which is what we really are trying to.
You got 3 board members with
Yeah.
parents, and then 2 other guys.
And by the way, in the absence of your aspirations, the state report card becomes what you're working for, or somebody else's agenda runs the place. Maybe it's right, maybe it's
Yeah.
wrong, but at least now you'll kind of a community engagement process is really key.
And one of the reasons we moved to 2 board meetings a month starting in January is because of this process, being able to have more time with you, more time for dialogue. What do you see as this board's role at our 2 meetings in January?
So on the first page, I actually, you'll get an update from me on a regular basis, schedule, all work on schedule. Really tough to screw up the first week, you know. It's, we're on track, and if you look at it, basically you're assuming you complete the task of the strategic advocacy group tonight, you're right on schedule. We'll be able to make those calls, get the communications out, get the deadline or the date set for them, and maximize your attendance. In December and January, complete approval of the members, allocate a portion of your budget for board meetings. We're going to try not to have any special board meetings for you. This is important governance work, so we'll have conversations with you and provide you with information so you can have dialogue with yourselves about each step of the way. We recommend that you participate in the January 15th Strategic Advocacy Group.
Our first meeting with that group, once we have this group selected, we'll be contacting them about that night, 6 p.m. start, Larger Construction High School.
So when you say participant,
Participate as in ideally you would come, you would see the presentations, listen to the dialogue, so that we're not filtering stuff for you as board members. You get to hear it firsthand from the people that we've assembled.
I think it would just be important, we just listen,
Yeah.
and not be participatory.
That's very important. We'll try, now you're board members, so you get to do anything you want. That's the first rule, but we will try to advise you that you'll have your day in the sun and you can talk all you want at your board meetings, but this is a chance for you to hear the community and listen to what's being said and what's being presented. The presenters and information are perfectly acceptable that you would ask questions and be a part of that process. But when it comes to feedback from the advocacy group, you're exactly right. Then you're gonna confirm there's a series of focus, but we'll focus for you on the stakeholder groups that are community-based, because that's governance, important governance work. The internal will rely on the senior leadership, make sure the focus groups are assembled correctly. Approved stakeholder survey, we will, before we send out the survey to the community, we want you to take a look at it, make sure it makes sense. If you don't see anything that's an alarm for you, that will come out of the focus group, but we'll vet that with you because you represent the community and you don't want the community to get something that you haven't seen. Then review organizational quality and performance. You'll be reviewing some reports. We'll have some individual reports in February. This list will include approving the what is done. and start discussions regarding lagging measures. We'll give you some feedback on that. That'll take a little while. You got until March to close that down, or actually until a little bit later if we need to be. We're pushing the project hard on the timeline because of your desire to have that connection with your bond person in the facility. We're probably pushing a little faster. We can, if we don't have to maintain that pace. The goal here isn't to get done in a rapid pace. The goal is to have a high quality document. So if it takes longer, that's fine. We are trying to compress it to see if we can get that done to meet your expectations.
Are you referring to lagging measures in regards to the report card or anything that they're seeing within the district?
Yeah, report card would be a good starting point. I think because you're one of the top schools in the state, that you can probably stretch beyond what the basic report card calls for. Your aspiration statements will help you understand what lagging measures you want to put in place. If you have one set of aspirational statements, you'll have certain metrics. If you have different ones, you'll have different metrics. They're going to at least begin with your state report card. State report cards, actually, it takes a lot of reading. The AF's kind of a pain, but the actual measures are pretty reasonable as a core set. They're not aspirational, they're kind of minimal. So that's what we'll have the conversation. It will not be quality, or what we call leading measures. It won't be process quality. It'll be the big ones. I'm trying to deliver on the school that I'll just make it exceptional student achievement is one of your aspirations. But we probably have to go well past math and reading. We'll probably look at college attendance, workforce team, and some kind of high level. We'll be bringing in some ideas around what's it mean to be a really, truly well-rounded, high-performing student beyond math, science, and English. So there's actual research and lots of work around that. We'll have those conversations, let you have that conversation. So you may pull lagging measures out of that. Leading measures tend to be driven by the internal staff. You'll certainly hear from them, and you also will develop a schedule for you to receive information from lagging and leading in a 12-month cycle. So it won't be a surprise. The board will actually decide when it receives information from them. Useful?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Dr. Summers. Feel free to stay if you'd like for a little while.
Do you need me anymore?
No, sir. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to 3.3, our 2019 board meeting dates. We have uploaded a document for your review to be approved at the January organizational meeting. From previous discussions, we went ahead and put 2 meetings for 10 of the 12 months. Our plan would be is to have one formal meeting here and then one work session type meeting at the board office for things like this or other topics. If we stay on schedule and we're done with the strategic planning by the end of March or by the end of April, we may not need 2 more meetings a month as the year goes. We'll keep in contact with you whether or not we have information for those meetings or if we have a need for it. But right now, to put it on everyone's calendar, these are the proposed dates, and we checked with the Warren County Career Center. Their meeting dates and their 2 work session dates were able to be given to us ahead of time as they're proposed. They haven't been accepted yet, but we were able to make sure that we have everyone here. Any questions with this? We're moving on. Thank you. Under committee reports, there's only one tonight. Unfortunately, Scott Marshall was able to be here due to a personal commitment. If you want to discuss this with him at the next meeting, the minutes were put on the website, Springboro School's website, under board committees, committee meeting list. The highlight, actually 2 board members were there, but Wendy Ford in her mental health services department gave a really, really good presentation. There were some follow-up questions. We plan on the next district parent council to highlight the amazing work of our counseling department. Frankly, 6 different buildings and the work they do that really is second to none in this region. Any questions about the district parent council report? Mr. President, we're ready to move on to the treasurer's report, item 4.1.
is there a motion to accept 4.1 through 4.3?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion?
I'm thinking for the, correct me if I'm wrong, for the Optimist Club, is that where they're doing the flags?
This one will be
They use it.
Yeah.
I don't think- I don't know if
They
it's
do.
good.
They do.
Sometimes they can just
Okay, well, something that I'll just kind of share, because I know that they are financially, that will be voted. I think this is a neat way to involve our athletes in community events that, for every, I think there's 6 holidays a year that we get flags in our yard if you pay a certain amount. And the hockey team comes around and they hit a couple of neighborhoods, and then the money, the Optimist Club has partnered with the hockey program, and the money, instead of going to the Optimist Club, is going to the hockey program. I thought, what a cool way, because the athletes are actually doing the work of putting the flags in, and then it's coming back to benefit our athletic program. So I thought, what a neat partnership between the Optimist Club and our athletic department. So I don't know if that's what that donation was, but they are doing it because they delivered to my house. So, yeah, it's cool. I just like to see that partnership and seeing our kids actually, they're out there working 6 times a year, you know, putting the flags in the ground and then picking them up after 3 or 4 days. So, cool thing.
Roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Abstain?
No, I say something.
You want to say one?
Okay, so item 4.3 is approval of a donation for $7,000. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm doing the wrong one. Okay, approval of the revised announcement rates as determined by the budget commission. I had an email earlier this week and I explained that these are the new rates I will go into effect in January. So we need to have them approved before I do the tax budget in January, because those rates will be in the tax budget. So that's where those rates are, need to be approved. 4.6, approval of a donation from Tom Stringer for Sherlock Enterprises and Discover Dating discount books to 5 Points Elementary valued at $1,200. Item 4.7, approval of a donation of $50 from the OSBA raffle for Andrea, donated by the Ski Club. Thank you, Andrea. Approval of a donation of $75 from the Rotary Club to the academic team, that's for the teachers. The teacher decided, I knew one of them was for the teacher. Item 4.9, donation of 4 cellos, 1 viola, 1 bass, 1 keyboard valued at $3,677 from the Springboro Orchestra Association, which is one of our support organizations, to be used by the Springboro High School Orchestra Program. Item 4.10, approval of the donation of $325 from Pearson for educational technology. Again, I believe thanks to Andrea on that one.
Is there a motion to accept 4.3 through 4.10?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? Roll call.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes, that's good. First.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. President, under the superintendent section, all I have tonight is are the policy revisions for quite a few policies. All of them came to us either as new policy or revised policy from Neola, our contracted organization, and make sure that we are staying compliant. Not received any questions since these were posted. This is only first read, so if anyone has any questions about these, I'd ask that you let me know in between board meetings and I can get those answers for you.
I have one question. Is the only new policy that 2261.03, district and school report card, it's got new and?
Yes, that is the only new one.
Everything else is revision?
The rest of them are all revisions.
All right, thanks.
Typically, revisions are more of just compliance,
Yeah.
something new coming from the law, or even best practice sometimes. We're ready, Mr. President, to move to the Director of Human Resources, and Carrie Hester is with us tonight in the building.
Good evening, members of the board. I'd like to present item 6.1, which is our personnel report for December. There are a few items left over from November for the end of the month that are also on there. Item 6.2 is our exempt handbook. There were minimal changes to this. This was just to add the language around the stipends for the insurance. And then 6.3 is the approval of the first set of administrators for the payout
6.1 through 6.3.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath? Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
6.5 is a very short athletic personnel report for the beginning of winter sports. And then 6.6 is, we broke out Austin and Jen for their vacation payout.
Is there a motion to accept 6.5 and 6.6?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll.
I don't know if I have a discussion here or because we have to approve it. Stop me if it should be here. Can we get a report out on the overall fall athletics? Like the sports and how many students were in each of, we had talked about that like a month ago or something. I wasn't sure where.
So every fall sport,
Like
how many
all
students
sports,
participate?
how many students and how many coaches we had with it. Thank you. No questions about administrative.
Roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Abstain.
Mr. President, we'll move to the Director of Instruction. Thank you, Mrs. Hester. Call upon Andrea Cook for 2 items for your consideration.
Good evening, Mr. Stuckey, members of the board. I have 2 items for you this evening. Both of them are trips. The first one is Washington DC trip contract for next year. There have been some proposed changes to this trip. The trip for many, many years has left as an overnight with the students boarding the bus in the evening hours and arriving to Washington DC in the very early morning on Wednesday. The proposal is to change the trip to a Tuesday morning departure as opposed to a Tuesday evening departure, whereby the students will travel during the day as opposed to through the evening. So we'll add 1 extra day in evening in a hotel room, increasing the costs. When Mr. Franks brought this to me, I told him that our constituents would need to give us input on this trip. So we did put out a Google survey to all parents in the 7th grade. We received 132 responses. 91% were in favor of moving the trip so that the youth are traveling during the day as opposed to through the evening, so that they have some more energy when they arrive in Washington to be able to enjoy the trip and not be so fatigued throughout the trip. 9% of our parents declined the change in the trip. So I told Mr. Franks that due to the 91% affirmative that I would bring that to you for change for next year's trip. It will add roughly $110 onto the cost of the trip for our parents. That was included in the survey, so the parents knew when they voted that they would be voting on an increase in the price of the trip. We talked at length with regards to families that would not be able to possibly afford that increase in the trip. And we've made some changes as far as addressing those students who qualify for free and reduced lunch on scholarships for next year's trip. Without having them have to come to us, we would do a letter for them, offering them scholarship monies that would offset the cost significantly of the trip. So that was brought into consideration when we talked about this. So the change for that trip is to move it from an evening departure to a morning departure and to add 1 more hotel night on. Basically, the tour company is the same that we've used for several years, Classic Student Tours, and they do have, as you know, very professional drivers and tour guides on the trip. And the trip would be in the same week as it typically is in October. The second item that I have for approval is a high school robotics trip out of town, and that is on January 25th and 26th, and that is to Van Wert, Ohio. And that would be supervised by 2 coaches. Of course, they are BCI and fingerprint checked. That's Mrs. Lewis and Mrs. Strader.
So it's a competition?
It's a competition. It's a tournament for robotics. Oh,
So maybe they can make like a detour while they're there. Just go by your childhood home.
We probably tore it down. All right, is there?
I have a question for you. First off, thank you for putting the survey out to parents. I think that's a great way when you've got an increase like that to we did everything possible to get their input and also to address the needs for those that, with that extra financial commitment would impact. I appreciate you acknowledging that there are families that's gonna really, that would make the difference, and being proactive in helping those families. So thank you for that. Question about, I know this is the same, 'cause I've had 3 go on the trip, but it's the same contract. I'm just curious because of what happened with the other travel company that was in the news when the one that had to cancel. So ours says the money will be refunded if they terminate the tour for any reason except the default of payment. What happens if, like, are we covered with this contract? If the company goes bankrupt, are we just out of luck with the way this is written? Like what happened with other districts, or does that mean that we're covered?
This is more of
That's the
a
definition of
contract
That's the
language.
bank, okay.
That's,
Yeah, this is more of a contract language that, heaven forbid, anything might happen in Washington DC where our students would not be safe. That would be termination of contract. This is a long-standing
Yeah,
company that I would
experience has
expect
been
to follow through with us as they have in several years past.
So there's nothing we can put in here
Well-
that covers like bankruptcy, we're just
we could,
out of luck.
we could,
Just take them to court and you'd be on the law.
well, yeah,
Right.
well,
Right.
the other option would be to get some sort of insurance that would cover.
That would have to cost them even more than
Well,
we're doing.
yeah, and it would be a different company, I mean, you could
Yeah.
do that, but.
Luckily, we have had really good luck with, the guy really likes Springboro, and it's been good. I was just curious because that was in the news a lot last year with that one company going under,
Get in
so.
line with everybody else.
Yeah, right. Okay, all right, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, is there a motion to accept 7.1 and 7.2?
So,
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Palage?
Yes.
Goods?
yes.
Yes.
President, we can move to
Thank you.
8.1, announcements and considerations, before moving on to 8.2 and 8.3.
Mr. Reeves?
I guess, my thoughts are, we're in the midpoint of the year, academically, but at the end of the year, from a calendar perspective, I think so far we've had a fantastic year, a lot of accolades for the district, which is always exciting to see. Thankfully, a safe year, it's been good news, and I really hope that we can have as much success in the second half of the academic year as we did in the first. And, my best wishes to, the student, staff, administration. My wife is a teacher, I know she needs this time critically to, gain her sanity again, so I hope that everyone else, in Springboro takes this same time and enjoys their family and time away. So happy holidays, everybody.
So I just positive things, I continue to hear good things about school, which is always, fill your bucket up, and just happy holidays.
I think that the thing that I've been hearing is the individuality with the teachers, with the students. I just appreciate that. I've experienced it with our own kids, and I've heard some specific examples from some parents. And a couple of new parents that, new to the district this year with kids that are older, which is a hard transition when you've got kids coming in at the high school level, and just some really cool, examples of ways that all the way from principals to the teachers have really worked to make them feel part of Springboro. So you like hearing things like that. So kudos to the teachers that are really working to make the kids feel a part of Springboro. And to the kids, I'm sorry, to the little ones, that those little voices that were singing the solos. That was so precious. I mean, all the kids did a great job, but that's very brave to get out there and sing solos like that. I was just so impressed with those sweet little voices. So all of those that did the performance, that was great.
Yeah, they did a good job, so thank you for performing. My children would stood there with their mouths closed, just kind of trying to blend in, so I appreciated that they actually were singing. No, I told them, I'm like, at least lip sync, so it looks like you're, now they just stand there and then they stand out even more. But no, thank you to the students, to all the people that donated as well, a lot of generous donations in there, and just echoing what others have said, just thankful for everybody for a good start to the year, and hope that everybody has a very happy and safe holiday season, and look forward to come back in the new year and really getting, this strategic planning process really underway, I think, is just so critically important for our district, and really excited to kick the new year off with that, so that's it.
I also want to thank the youngins for coming in. It was great to hear them, and something, you said about your kids would stand there. Well, went to my youngest grandchild's kind of Christmas singing this morning, and didn't go real well for him. Talking about freezing up and wanting mommy on, it was rough. But anyway, he's got time to get better there. So I want to thank Dr. Summers for coming in, and also for the staff and students of Springboro. Have a great holiday season.
If I can, before we move on, this has been a very amazing year, and I think we are blessed as a leadership team, as a Board of Education, to have the group of students that we have, all 6,000 of them. They are who they are because of the amazing parents in this district, the support we have from them, a staff, whether it's teachers, support staff, or administrators, they give their all every day to make sure these students are successful. We are blessed. It has been a great first half of the year. We wish Merry Christmas to this entire Springboro community, as well as this great board.
All right, 8.2, approval of a revised superintendent's contract. Is there a motion to accept 8.2, please?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
I do have something to say here. Everybody knows that we have our A rating in our district, which we're all very proud of. The staff and the students and teachers have done an amazing job of everybody working together towards that. I previously shared that I have had some concerns with the performance with Mr. Schroeder's leadership, and those concerns have continued for me, and I shared some specifics last week with our evaluation, and my vote tonight will be reflective of my concerns. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
No.
Washington?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 8.3, approval of the revised treasurer's contract. Is there a motion to accept?
Yes.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Is there any other comments before we adjourn?